Good morning, everyone. Here we are on this Friday. Another week accomplished, almost. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. We had ourselves a day yesterday, though, when it comes to Philadelphia sports, did we not? You had the Flyers look a mess. It was miserable. It was pathetic. And then you had the Sixers dominate with their bench, essentially. Tony Bradley, better than Embiid. Matisse Thybulle, great defender, better than Ben Simmons. So you had some interesting stuff go down. What's up, everyone? Where do you all want to begin today on this Coffee with Brodes? What's up, Skyler? What's going on? What's up, Grant? Love the title. I forget what I made the title because I made it last night. What did I make the title last night? Because I set it up for the night before. Looks like it's oh, yeah, that's right. That's a good one. That's a nice one. Oh, man, what's happening, man? Jake says he's been watching some throwback Phillies recently to get himself ready for the season, and he misses Ryan Howard. I normally, when I miss the Philly season the way that I do, I normally go back and I watch, like, Bryce Harper's first season here, early in the season. Michael Franco's still in place. We called him the best eighth hitter in baseball. I go back and watch that. Oh, that Austin Matthews goal was filthy, Pat. It was just disgusting. Yeah, how about Cam Newton? Cam Newton going back to the New England Patriots. I thought that was pretty interesting. I got a buddy who's a diehard Patriots fan. He's not happy. A couple of them all pissed off about things. I don't know what that truly means. Like, I really don't. I don't know what that means as if, like, is he really going to be, like, the guy? I don't know. I don't know how you can look at last year and be like, you know what we need to do? We need to really bring Cam Newton and this offense back in place. So we'll see what it really means. But what's the coffee for today? Just your good old McDonald's regular black. McDonald's regular black. Flyers out of it. Flyers look bad, and the Flyers are continuing to lose, and they are continuing to fall, and they are looking abysmal. I mean, the way that they've looked against the Penguins, and who do they play after the Penguins? I do this every single damn time. Who do they play? Sabres. They played the Sabres. No. It was the Capitals. It was Penguins, Capitals, Sabres, Capitals. It was just atrocious, man. I don't know how you allow John Carlson to get wide open the way that you do. I don't know how you turn the puck over for Alex Ovechkin to fire one in at you at that type of spot on the ice. I mean, you turn the puck over by the wall. Provorov can't handle it. Brian Elliott tries to play it off the wall. And then here's Ovi who just lets one crank. You score. You actually score a power play goal. I'll give you credit. You scored a power play goal to tie the game up 1-1. How about that? Something nice, something beautiful. You see it. What ends up happening? Connor Sheary gets a breakaway 2 minutes later. We're doing this again? Every time. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. You're going to get nothing done with this. And I know that we all sit here and go, well, Matt Niskanen, the loss of Matt Niskanen is the difference. So if you bring a neck home, is that the difference? I don't know. Is one person going to make this team go from the most dysfunctional D-zone ever to serviceable and playoff worthy? I don't know. I just don't know if that's true. Oh, that's hot. That coffee's hot. S-Rock says, I might have to take a step away from watching games until they acquire a D-man. Well, it might be some games. I don't know. Can you go with Saturday without watching them? They're the only Philadelphia sports game on, like, in terms of the Sixers and the Flyers and all. So you're really going to go no hockey? You're not going to tune them in at all? You don't want to continue to see this mess to see if it changes? Although we couldn't really, couldn't really expect much to change. I like this question because last night on my Sixers post-game pod on the Anytime Hotline, we had some solid Matisse Thybulle love, which makes a lot of sense considering what he ended up doing last night. But he said, we can't trade this guy. He's untouchable. And I go, untouchable? Matisse Thybulle is now untouchable. I think we all understand what he brings to the table. And we love his defense. And we love what he can do and what type of Swiss Army knife kind of defender you have in him. Untouchable? I mean, we fall in love with these guys all the time. Dario Saric was once labeled an untouchable. Remember that? Yeah. Dario Saric, untouchable. Robert Covington was once labeled untouchable. I like Matisse Thybulle. I think Matisse Thybulle has a great role. Matisse Thybulle should never be labeled untouchable because if you get back something in return, come on now, right? Like, let's not devalue what you're going to say. Yeah, this is a good point by Jake. You can't trade garbage and expect to get gold back. Like, if a team is going to trade you a player of significance and Matisse Thybulle has to be in that conversation, guess what? Matisse Thybulle is getting his ass traded because then you're devaluing the other guy. Now, I'm not throwing him away for nothing. I'm not just trading him to trade him for nothing, but that's where the untouchable word comes into play. No, he shouldn't be untouchable. If he's got to be in a trade deal to get James Harden with Ben Simmons, his ass is in the trade deal to get James Harden. If you got to move Matisse Thybulle to get a Bradley Beal, you move Matisse Thybulle, right? Like, untouchable, that's where it bothers me and gets me upset. If we can get LaVine in a deal. Now, see, LaVine, this is where you can't get LaVine without a bigger named player on your team. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Yeah, but that ain't happening. Guess what? That ain't happening. So with Zach LaVine, you can't get him unless you end up trading something of significance. And I don't think that you are going to be able to do anything in terms of Zach LaVine without putting a big dog into the mix. And that ain't happening right now with this team. I'm excited, though, to get one of the two back. Could you imagine if Matisse was a consistent three-point shooter? Yeah, I mean, he'd be deadly. You wouldn't be able to take him off the floor. His form isn't broken. He doesn't have a hideous shot. But I don't know if he's got that scoring touch either. If you turn him just into an average three-point shooter, what is he shooting right now from three? Let's check out his numbers from three this season and in his career. So he's shooting 29% from three. They ain't going to cut it. Last year, he was shooting 35.7, but if you remember, it was very streaky. Where there were times where Matisse Thybulle looked like Ray Allen, and then there were times when he was an embarrassment and went on this insanely cold streak that was just so ugly. I don't think he's a 35.7, 36% shooter. That would put him at league average. That's not what he is. He's not a league average guy. He's definitely worse than that. He's probably in that 30% range. Like, that's true to his numbers. What you see this year at around 30% is true to Matisse Thybulle's pure three-point shooting at the moment. If he was a deadly three-point shooter, you are talking about a player that seriously can't get off the floor at all. Now, let's look at his stats at Washington from three-point land. So at Washington, he started out shooting 36%. Then he shot 40% his sophomore campaign, 36% his junior, and then 30%. So pretty big drop-off. I remember that at the time, looking back at his shooting and saying, well, that's a little weird. That's a little odd that it dipped the way that it did. But it went from 36 to 40 to 36 to 30. So that was his college statistics when it comes to three-point shooting. If Ben Simmons was tradable, anyone is tradable. That is a great point. I think that's a great point. You're not going to shut down Matisse Thybulle and say, no, because, hey, we're going to go move on from Ben Simmons. Or which Tyrese Maxey. At one point, Tyrese Maxey was labeled for everyone. Oh, he's untouchable. He's untouchable. He's not even in your rotation anymore. So what do you mean? What did I think about Nola's performance yesterday? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I did go back and tune things in. And, we did allow a couple hits and all, but he had some nice stuff with some off-speed pitches. And just a spring training effort would be the way that I would describe it. A spring training effort. Made some mistakes, had some errors, but had some really nice pitches and had some guys swinging and missing and looking foolish as well. So the way I would describe the Aaron Nola performance yesterday, a spring training effort. A spring training effort. Assuming there isn't any significant trades at the deadline, who wins in a 7-game series, Philly or Brooklyn, and in how many? It's a good question, Ryan. I do think that there is going to be trades made or acquisitions made, I should say. So in this hypothetical, let's throw PJ Tucker on the Sixers, or let's throw George Hill or Larry Nance Jr. on the Sixers, one of those guys on the Sixers. So it's not a significant trade, you're right, or a significant move, addition, but it is something that will help out your team and benefit you. I think Brooklyn would win. I think Brooklyn has more of that firepower in win now, ready to win now mode. KD, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. These guys are in ready to win now mode more so than Joel Embiid is. And maybe Joel Embiid is at a good level. Maybe not at the level he needs to be at, but he's at a really good level to do it. But Ben Simmons isn't. Shake Milton isn't. The supporting cast to Joel Embiid isn't, when the supporting cast to James Harden is, and the supporting cast to Kevin Durant is. So that's where I put it in perspective. I don't think the supporting cast is ready to go. Like, I don't think Matisse Thybulle is ready to be the defender in the postseason. And I don't think that Shake Milton is ready to be the sixth man that you need in the postseason. And I don't think that Danny Green and Seth Curry and maybe the starting five is the best properly built roster right now. You had to make the moves, and it's better than what it was last season. And considering the moves you had to make, yes, I'm acknowledging that it's better than that. Is it a full product yet, though, this roster? I don't think so. And to be fair, I don't think Brooklyn has a complete roster, but they have a 3-headed monster that can win you an NBA title. I do know that. Where are we here? Will Barton trade? Yeah, that's another name that you saw flying around there for sure. This is out of the box, but I like it and I'm intrigued by it. Ben asks, I have to know how you feel about pineapple on pizza. Very random. We were getting into it pretty good about the Sixers there. But Ben, I'll tell you what. Pineapple on pizza is absolutely 100%, 1,000% amazing. The fact that people think that you can't have pineapple on pizza, you're a joke. You're an embarrassment. You didn't have it. And if you did have it and you didn't like it, you're an idiot. Pineapple on pizza is delicious. I haven't had it in quite some time. It's not something that I will get every time. I'm with you where it's, and I don't know if you're with me or not, but it's not something you get every time. It's not something, well, you get pizza night? Yeah, we're going Hawaiian. Like, no. You got to pick and choose your moments for the pineapple on pizza. But to make it seem like pineapple pizza is a bad move, well, come on. Oh, but you can't do that. Pizza's not supposed to have pineapple. Who makes the rules? What are the rules? Who says that you can't put something on pizza? Because there's tradition back in the day? Well, guess what? There's a lot of things that happened back in the day that isn't happening anymore because we have made progress in life. Pineapple on pizza is one of those progressions, I should say, where, okay, you know what? Maybe there was a time where you didn't do it. Now there is, and damn it, it's fucking good. So there's my opinion on it. There's my opinion on it. What do the Flyers need to do to get back on top? Sign 6 defensemen. Sign 6 defensemen. What coffee do I have? I have McDonald's regular black coffee. Using that logic, maybe we should progress past baseball. What does that mean? I think baseball is in a great spot with analytics and all that. Now, that's not normally what the people think, but I think we have progressed in baseball with all this analytics, which to me, I'm not going to say it's made it 100% better, but I do think that there is a phenomenal product on the field with baseball. But what do you mean by that, Pat? What are you saying? Like, we should just not have baseball at all because it's not a good enough sport? And that's where baseball gets totally disrespected. He's just a baseball hater. See, that's where I think baseball is a thinking man's game. And I just, if you don't think the game as the game is happening, well, then, yeah, you're not going to like it. You can't sit there and just wait for a hit, right? Like, you need to study. It's a different style game. You got to study Aaron Nola. You got to know what he does on 2-1 counts. You got to know how he utilizes his pitches. You got to know his repertoire. You got to know what he did the first time around the lineup. You got to know what he does with his fastball. And when you see that, and then when it's, oh, hold on a second, but last at bat against the same guy on an 0-2 pitch, he threw this. Now he threw an 0-2 pitch, and it was that. Like, you got to know what happened. I know you understand the game, but that's why people miss out on baseball. It's like they don't put the thinking part of it in, and they just like, all right, I'm going to wait for a big moment. Well, yeah, if you do, it's a different style of game. It's a different style game, but that's why I like it too. You need something different. I like that it's different. With basketball and with hockey, you get this up and down pace, and I love that up and down pace. It's amazing. It's fun. It's intense. It's high. It's high pace, high motor. That's awesome. But I don't need 7 sports that are up and down nonstop. Give me something that's different. Give me versatility. Football is a slower paced sport when it comes to how that works, right? Yeah, exactly. UFC. You're right. UFC is very similar to that. It's a chess type of feel. When you're watching Adesanya in the ring, when he moves up a weight class and he's trying to strategically figure out what he's going to do, then he gets taken to the ground in rounds 4 and 5. Hold on a second. Now I can't get up as easy because there's a guy who's heavier on top of me, putting all of his weight on top. How am I going to get out of this? What am I going to do? So you're right. It is very similar in that aspect. The difference is one guy's punching someone in the face and the other guy's gripping a baseball differently and putting spin on it. But both are great, and I think they're cool in their own way. Who do I have in March Madness? Michigan. Is that too boring of an answer? I have been not out on college basketball this year, but the lack of fans in college hoops has hurt me. It has hurt me. The atmosphere, watching the game at Duke and not seeing the crazy fans, and it hurt me. It hurt me big time. So this has been one of my weaker college basketball seasons in terms of watching as a fan. But I really don't know who's going to win March Madness. I don't have much. I don't have as much knowledge as I normally do about some of these upper echelon teams this year, but I know Michigan's nasty, and you can always throw Gonzaga into the mix, Baylor into the mix, although I know people question them and all, and can they get it done? Villanova could have had a chance before the injury happened. I'm still involved in what's going on. I just haven't heavily watched it as much this season. Amazing. Fans slowly starting to come back, though. Yeah, you're right. And it's making the difference for me. It really is. To get 3,000 in there, it feels so good to watch. Can't believe I'm going to say this sentence. It feels so good to watch a Flyers team. And even though that they're stinking, hearing boos and hearing the crowd, and when Travis Konechny scores, there's an eruption. Just hearing that, the boos, the shoot on the power play, even though I hate that, it's one of the worst things about Flyers fans and hockey fans in general. It's nice to hear that. $2 donation coming in from Giroux. I'm bitter about ESPN acquiring NHL rights. Now, why is that? Why would you be bitter about it? Why would you not be excited, happy, thrilled? Why are you bitter? Why is bitter the word that you use to describe what's going on? I think this is a great thing. I think this is a fantastic thing. I think that this is going to help the game grow. I think you're going to find more casual watchers. And I brought this up on Open Ice Hits, which if you're a hockey fan, it's an NHL pod, a league-wide pod with myself and Kevin Durso of 97.3 ESPN. He covers the Flyers. You throw on ESPN and you find Bago or Cornhole, whatever you call it. You find darts. You find bowling. And you ever find yourself just like, hold on a second, you're watching it. You watch it for 10, 15 minutes. You watch it for 20 minutes, 25. You're like, well, I'm an hour in right now. Thank you, Pat, for the kind words. He said it's a must-listen pod, by the way. I appreciate that. I would tend to agree. With hockey, you might get that now. You might now have the casual, I want to watch sports. What's on ESPN? Oh, it's a hockey game. Oh, it's the Penguins. Oh, it's Penguins-Bruins. Oh, it's the Detroit Red Wings. Oh, it's the Colorado Avalanche. You might get that now. And now you have this casual fan base finding hockey. Before, when it's on USA, like you had playoff series on Paramount and USA. You're not going to get anybody in that. You now get that casual watch. And I think that that's big. That's what I'm looking for. Well, we got some open ice hits love in the chat. Love open ice hits. Thank you so much, Arm Zebra. We got it from Pat Sheehan, a must-listen pod. Thank you guys so much for appreciating the pod. You know, it's unique. It's got its own click, if you will, because of what type of fan you need to be. But I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy talking about the league. Christian says he was listening to the pod yesterday, the Open Ice Hits pod. Ray Ferraro in the booth would be awesome, dude. Ray Ferraro. Listening to Ray Ferraro during World Juniors is fantastic. Just Ray Ferraro in general. I actually listened to this pod out in Toronto. It's Sports Talk Radio out in Toronto. I've mentioned that before. But Ray Ferraro is a common guest. And on their Apple podcast feed, Ray Ferraro has pretty much a 30-minute radio hit every day. And I just listen to what he has to say, whether it's about the Winnipeg Jets, the Maple Leafs. And speaking of Toronto, holy hell, did you see Austin Matthews' goal last night? Holy hell. That thing was absolutely filthy. That was gross. I mean, it was just unreal. Here's another food question. We're getting some pineapple pizza questions. Now we got another one coming in. What is my favorite donut? Now, I like the donut. And I actually, it's funny. Mike Gill and I, when I was on the Sports Bash with him, we always brought up this inside joke about donuts because I like he goes, you know what nobody ever gets? A strawberry frosted. No one ever gets a strawberry frosted. And I go, hold on a second, Gil. I love a strawberry frosted. Now, is it my go-to? I'm a simple man. My normal go-to is it's one of two. I flip-flop every time I go. It's either a vanilla frosted or a strawberry frosted with some sprinkles on top with a little bit of Jimmy's. So with the rainbow Jimmy. So I normally go vanilla or strawberry frosted donut. It just depends on my day. But he brings up, before I even got anything out, no one ever gets strawberry. What do you mean no one gets strawberry? And then he brings up this hypothetical where, well, you're at the office and you open up the Dunkin' Donuts, big case of donuts in the offices at work. Well, what's left by 4 o'clock in the afternoon? There's that one strawberry frosted left that nobody wants. I'm like, yo, you're wrong because I eat it first. A good glazed donut is fantastic, though. Some of the other people commenting in, chocolate glazed, double chocolate glazed. All right, we got a lot of chocolate glazed. Unreal. A lot of chocolate glazed. Chocolate icing, Krispy Kremes. Where's my favorite cheesesteak spot? This is from Tyler. We're on a good food kick today. Jim's, for sure. I'm a big Jim's guy. Not that I'm someone who goes around and does cheesesteaks all the time kind of thing. It's been a while since I went into Philly and grabbed myself a cheesesteak, but Jim's is my favorite one of the Philadelphia cheesesteaks. But there's a lot of great ones out there. I think they're all very good, but I'll have to go Jim's. No glazed on chocolate. Too sweet. Yeah, there's something about a glaze. I'll even go to Wawa and I'll snag a little glazed twist with my coffee, and I'm shoving it down before I even get one sip of coffee because it's so damn good. Food talk with Brodes, maybe. I need a fat sip of this coffee, though. It's funny. I was a little late this morning. A little late on the right. I started at like 9:03. I was a couple minutes late because I had to wake up. And the fiance goes, well, why even make your coffee? Why don't you just go pretend to drink the coffee and so you won't be late and you just drink it? I was looking at my dog. I go, Renzo, did you hear what she just said? Don't actually drink the coffee. So you think that what? I can just sit down here for an hour, lie to the people, number one. How dare you to say, oh, I'm not actually drinking coffee. But two, not even that. You think I can operate without even drinking any coffee? Do you know me? Do you even know anything about your future husband? Apparently not. Oh, why don't you just go fake it so you're not late? Go fake drinking the coffee. I mean, Jesus, she should sleep outside tonight. Don't you think? Don't you think? Pat comes in and goes, you need to leave Kara, to be honest. That's what I'm thinking. I almost did. I almost took the ring back. So you know what? You're not deserving. How dare you? My go-to Wawa order now is this chicken bacon ranch quesadilla. I've been obsessed. Thank you, Jack, for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Wawa is better than Sheetz, by the way. Amazing. Just a good sip. There's so many times where you just get a good one, and as you take the sip, you can feel it kind of going through your veins, and you look down to appreciate it. Like, you're just fucking awesome. You know that? Like, without you, I don't know where my life would be. I really don't. You are amazing. You're beautiful. And the intensity that you bring every day is something that stands out. You're the best thing to happen in my life. You ever do that, or is that just me? Look, I mean, it's so important. I got a whole damn show out of it. This started with think about this. This damn piece of coffee, the coffee grounds that turns into this coffee. We started this channel a couple years ago where I would make 5-minute post-game reactions. Now we're at the point where we get phone calls all day, and I'm 30 minutes after each game, which I love. But this right here has now generated its own show. I mean, that's where we're at. Best fast food chain. See, this is where I have an issue. And this was another debate we once had on the Sports Bash. Is Chipotle considered fast food? I would say I forget what my answer was. I think that everyone said it was, yes, fast food. But I said that fast food, they were labeling it. The people that said no labeled it, if it has a drive-through, it's fast food. That was what the argument was. Fast food means it has a drive-through. That's the only way that you can describe fast food. I'm like, in what world is fast food described by just the drive-through? I think that's ridiculous. But is Chipotle fast food? No, it's not fast food. It's not fast food. You go through, fast food is McDonald's. Fast food is that type of stuff. And there's no way I put Chipotle in there. And I forget my answer at the time. Moe's is greater than Chipotle. No, it's not. Moe's is okay, and Qdoba's okay. And there's other places that try and do something similar. It ain't Chipotle, dude. It ain't Chipotle. Fast casual? I guess that's more like it. But I don't think it's fast food. Is Subway fast food? Not really, no. It's got a similar thing. You go through the line. Fast food is like a McDonald's. Y'all making me hungry. I haven't even eaten breakfast. Me neither. I normally get off here, and sometimes hockey. Sometimes coffee takes away my hunger for a little bit. So when I have a cup of coffee, you know what's funny? I have a post-game. Can't get my words out today. I got that Friday feeling. I have a post-show coffee. Should I live stream that? My post-show coffee? Subways have drive-thrus? I've never seen a Subway have a drive-thru. I don't think Five Guys is fast food. No, I don't think so. Duncan has a drive-thru. Yep, I would agree that one is. This is good, Ada Leon. This is funny. This is good. I'll have to give it to him. So McDonald's in Walmart is not fast food. But if you had the McDonald's out of the Walmart, it's fast food because it has the drive-thru. Touche. That's a great spin on things for sure. That's awesome. All right, let's try and transition a little bit back into sports. Not that I'm hating any of this food talk by any means. I'm having a good time. If there's some good non-sports related questions, I'm still here for it. But just to try and maybe convince ourselves to get back on track. Morning, Brodes. Afternoon here in the UK. It's come from Daryl, not Daryl Morey. Big statement win last night, unless it is Daryl Morey and he has a burner account. Big statement win last night. Dwight and TB stepped up big time. I had to think about who TB was because Tony Bradley barely plays. I went straight to Tom Brady in my head. Shame we didn't get to see more of Maxey, though. It was a good win for this team. They played really hard. They outworked their opponent. The Bulls were a nightmare early on, and they just were not in sync. They were not in rhythm. They were turning the basketball over left and right. Yeah, you had Tony Bradley running up and down the floor. How about that 25-pound thing? To lose 25 pounds, I mean, that's pretty damn significant to your season, to the start of it all. You know, you come into a season at a certain weight and you're down 25 and you get a chance because let's be realistic. The last time he started, it was bad. It was unplayable type of stuff. And that's why we were all concerned. Okay, well, if Embiid doesn't play and then you have to go with somebody else, Dwight Howard needs to play that not six-man role, but that first big man off the bench type of role to fill that. He's not someone you can start. What do you do? And then we brought up the names, Mike Scott. We even had this very topic with Coffee with Brodes before the game yesterday. What do you do? We all said, well, you'd probably throw Shake in there. But if you're trying to stay true to who your role is and what your role is and the identity of this bench, Doc Rivers alluded to stay with their role players in their roles and just move other pieces. It's like what the Eagles do with the offensive line. If there's a problem at left guard, don't be moving all these right pieces, right tackle, right guard, the left guard, or anything like that. And then you have to get weaker at left guard, weaker at right tackle. I'm just hypothetically speaking, of course. I'm not saying, hey, move Lane Johnson to left guard. But you get my point. If you move your right guard to left guard because you might be better than the alternative, but now you're getting weaker at right guard as well, it's like, all right, you're moving too many pieces. With the bench, keep the bench the way it should be and just allow yourself to fill the holes that you need to in the starting rotation. And it worked out. I don't know if I can expect that out of Tony Bradley long term. Right? The Cavs and the Bulls, or the Cavs and the Pistons are far better teams than this Bulls team. You think? I don't know, big picture, maybe last night. Last night, the Bulls played that out of whack and played that out of sorts. And, you know, it seemed like they were just not feeling it. They didn't feel like playing. They felt like they were still on all-star break. They decided to put in no effort. They thought Zach LaVine would be able to go out there and be a walking bucket without Ben Simmons on the floor, which was not the case. And I went through the game log yesterday on the post-game pod as well with what Zach LaVine does against every other team compared to what he does against the Sixers. It just shows you how they dial in on him defensively, and he's got no answers at all. We got a $2 donation coming in from Jake Elliott. Interesting, would we be a playoff team without Ben and Joel? See, this is where I have to draw a line. And thank you so much for the $2 donation. But this is the ups and downs that I talk about. Prior to this game, what was the storyline? This bench sucks. This bench blows. So now they have one game against the Chicago Bulls where the ball was just going in at will. And now we're asking the question, would they be a playoff team without Ben and Joel? The answer is no. This team can't really do this consistently because they did this once against the Bulls. This isn't who they are. This isn't who these bench players are. You're not going to get double digits from all of these players night in and night out to think that without Ben and Joel, you are now a team that's competing for a playoff spot. You know what I'm saying, though? Like, that's where I have the issue, and that's where I draw the line. You can be excited. You can like the win. But now we're asking if this team is some team that can compete for the playoffs without Ben and Joel. You know what I'm saying? And I feel bad. It's $2 donation, Jake, and you're a very loyal listener, and you are a great human being that chimes in all the time. But I do think you're somewhat crossing the line just a little bit when we go to that, right? Like, that's like the too emotional side of things with it all. Let's get to Tobias, though, because Tobias was awesome. Tobias started out 0 for 5. Now, is this in reference? He says Tobias as the leader, though, as if maybe without Ben and Joel, Tobias can lead you to the playoffs. Stop. But Tobias, in this one-game circumstance, being 0-5 to start the game and being slow to start, to finish off the way that he did, very efficient, knocking down a ton of shots, being a dog. You really got to tip your cap to Tobias to find his groove and to get the legs under him after the slow start into the game. That really helped. I mean, he took that game over, started to make shots, give me the basketball, let me get to the rim, right? Like, hey, my shots aren't falling, and when my shots weren't falling, let me get to the rim. Let me get fouled. Let me find a way. Let me see the ball go through the hoop. That was something that I really noticed out of Tobias Harris. Let's get to his let's get to his game log because I want to see something from him in general. When making your videos last night, were you more happy with the Sixers or annoyed with the Flyers? I was more annoyed with the Flyers than I was excited with the Sixers because you won a basketball game without Ben and Joel. I like it, and you're battling with the Brooklyn Nets, but the game didn't mean much. But with Tobias Harris, got to the free throw line 8 times, made 7 of those free throws. That's what, I wanted to go check. How many times did he actually get to the line? I realized he was getting to the line. I just didn't remember exactly how many times it was. Jake comes back in with a $2 donation, says, what do you think about Shake at the 3? I think that's not a role for him. I think secondary, primary ball handler. I mean, to be realistic with you, I don't even know if that's his role long term. But right now, I don't think you're moving Shake Milton around to have him play a small forward role. He's a backup point guard right now on this team. He's not a very efficient one. He's very up and down, very roller coaster, very high, very lows, not consistent enough. Now, that happens with youth. I will say that the skill set is there. The handles are there. The IQ is there. The finish is there, driving to the rim. He does have a very awesome skill set, but I don't think right now Shake Milton is someone that I could rely on to be your, quote, walking bucket, your, quote, Lou Will in the playoffs constantly enough. You can't rely on Shake Milton to be an effective player for you every night in the playoffs. You can expect certain players to do that, though. You know what you're getting out of Joel. You know what you're getting out of Tobias for the most part this season. You don't know what you're getting out of Shake Milton, and that scares me out of your 6-man. So to answer your question, no, I don't think he should be at the 3. I think he needs to be where he is now. I just don't know if he's good enough, and he's supposed to be where he is now. But is that good enough for a championship caliber team? The answer to me is no. The answer to me is no. What can the Flyers get for Nolan Patrick, Robert Haig, Gustafson, and a first? A bag of pucks. A new net for not even the Wells Fargo Center. Maybe a new net for the Flyers skate zone in Voorhees for practice. Oh, man. Hot take. Shake will be a star player one day. He's averaging 15 coming off the bench. I guarantee you in 3 or 4 years, he'll be Bradley Beal. Yeah, that is a hot take. That is a hot take. Shake Milton has not been efficient enough whatsoever. So I don't care about the number of points he's averaging so far this season because I've seen the sample size of it not being good enough. If you're happy with 10 points on 13 shots, well, then, that's different. If you're happy with 11 points on 10 shots, if you're happy with 9 points on 11 shots, if you're happy with 11 points on 11 shots, if you're happy with 12 points, 12 shots, like this is all the month of March, by the way. Now, in the beginning of the season, he's had stronger moments. He's had 19 points on 11 shots. He's had 28 points before. He's had 31 with a very efficient 11 of 15. He's had 24 points, 8 of 13 earlier in the season, which makes his stats pop more than what they really are. But, yes, you know what? He's giving you a 10, 11, like more consistently than 15. If you look at since March 9th, or excuse me, that was all February, not March, February. But from February 9th to now, here's the points: 11, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 10. And then he had the 126-point game, but not efficient. You get 30% from the field to get you your 10 points. Yeah, okay, if you look just out of nowhere and say, oh, but he gave you 10 points. He shot 30% from the field to get you your 10 points. It's not efficient enough, and that helps you out. So you're right, it is a hot take, and I don't think he's going to be a star player. I think he can be a nice NBA player. A star player, though, I don't see that. I don't see what you see, but I see a nice role player. I think he can develop into a really nice piece in this league. Do I think he's going to be anything significant. He's gonna be he could be a nice help to a team. Do I see Bradley Beal? I do not. Is a Flyers rant coming soon? If they continue to do this, if they continue to play this way, yeah, absolutely. Getting back on Shake, though, real quick, because RC says, I'm not a big Shake guy either. I'm not a Shake guy. I like Shake Milton. He's just not ready now. And when he is ready, his ceiling isn't Bradley Beal. His ceiling is a Lou Will, which is a nice six man. Like, that's his ceiling. I don't think he'll get to that tier. I think Lou Will is the ultimate six man. But if he's just a step below a Lou Will and that's his ceiling, it's a nice ceiling, and that's a nice player, and it's an important piece to a roster. I'm not Shake guy. I like Shake Milton. I'm intrigued by Shake Milton. But in a ready now, win mode now team that Daryl Morey thinks this team is, because of the way Joel Embiid is playing, I think 4 years down the road, that's the Shake Milton that you wish you had now. But that Shake Milton isn't Bradley Beal like the earlier commenter mentioned. It would be a different type of six-man role, not so much a Bradley Beal. Best 20-point win without Joel Embiid. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Yeah, it was a really nice win. It was good work ethic coming out of the gates hot. I think guys are understanding, I got to earn my role. This is now the part of the year where it's time. It's time to go out there. It's time to go compete. It's time to show Doc Rivers, I deserve a chance to be in this rotation, because you're now fighting for your rotation. Thoughts on Dario Saric? He's having a nice year. There's my thoughts. I think people get carried away. I think people make it seem like this guy's elite. He's having a nice season for the Suns. The Suns are a nice squad. He's got 11 points per game, 4 rebounds per game. He's giving you about, how many minutes per game does he play? It's up and down. It varies between 10 to 20-ish. It seems like it's 16, 21, 19, 10, 13, 20, 16. But he's playing a nice role. He's playing a nice role, and he's giving you a nice spark. Nice bench player right now. He's having a nice season. Here's my thoughts on Dario. Untouchable, though? Labeled an untouchable guy as a role player. Gotta love it. Nick says, love your channel, Brodes. Keep up the good work, man. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate all the support from you, everybody else that's in here watching and drinking their coffee with me. Thank you so much for all the kind words. It is amazing. It's amazing. TK says, I missed the Phillies bullpen rants last summer. Well, maybe you get them again. I don't know. What if Kinsler stinks? I do have not so much a hot take, but this Archie Bradley thing fascinates me. I do believe, wow, on Twitter, we seriously have someone tweeting at me a Subway drive-thru, which is amazing that there is a Subway drive-thru. That is comical as hell. I just never seen that before. But going back to the Phillies Ranch thing, Archie Bradley, that's right. That's what I was going to bring up. With Archie Bradley, I do think that there is something to say about this attitude and this noise and maybe some of his numbers last year. I don't know. I think that it smells like a disaster. Everyone's all happy. Everyone's all stoked. He sounds like he wants to be here, and he's got this good attitude, and he's saying sign JT as soon as he gets here. I like Archie Bradley, and I think that he can help this team considering what it was last year, but he better back it up. That's all I'm saying. If you have that type of voice and that type of motor, that's great. I'm okay with it. I like personality. I like athletes with personality. I think it's huge. I do think at the same time, though, you got to watch what you say because you better back it up. Because if you don't back it up and it starts to get annoying, we can turn on you real quickly. That's all. That's my point. And I think that there's a possibility that Archie Bradley allows a couple ding-dongs and maybe doesn't go as smooth, yet he's talking off the field about certain things and showing his personality. Well, you got to back it up to be that loud. A $2 donation coming back in from Jake. Maxey Shake Matisse, most potential to be a star. Tyrese Maxey, I would say. Star Tyrese Maxey. Not Matisse because he's too one-dimensional, in my opinion. If he just becomes an average three-point shooter, would that make him a star with his defense? Probably not. probably, I don't think star. It depends on how you view the word star, because you could say superstar in the NBA, and some people might have five players on that list, but somebody else might have 10 because of the way that you view the word superstar and what that means. When you say star, if Matisse Thybulle gets a 3-point shot and he's average, I'm not saying, crazy Steph Curry, like just average, and now he can give you maybe 1 or 2 threes a game, that doesn't elevate Matisse Thybulle to a star. I think Shake Milton has a very unique skill set, but I kind of already alluded to what I think his ceiling could be. So of the three, and look, I'm not even making it seem like Tyrese Maxey has a great shot to do it, because of the three, I don't think any three will be a true star of the NBA. But if it will be any of them, I think Tyrese Maxey, just with the way that he can create off the bounce already, and he can create his own looks the way that he does it smoother than any of the three. And you need that to be a star, and it's not the easiest to kind of learn. Like, you either have it or you don't have it. So Pat going for the Duncan run. Pat, but you wake up a little earlier. Go get your coffee first so you don't have to leave the show. Huh? How about that? You ever think about that? I'm just kidding. I'm just having some fun. Top ones have to be either Phil's opening day or the firing of Gabe Kapler. All fun moments. All super, super fun moments. Where else do we have here? Anyone else think the Sixers would be better with Harden than Ben Simmons? It's hard to argue that this team would be fantastic with James Harden and Joel Embiid. Absolutely. That doesn't mean, though, that what they're doing now is a flawed philosophy either, though. And that's what this comment kind of makes it seem. Like, oh, the Sixers will be better with Harden than Ben Simmons. Yeah, maybe I'm reading it too wrong. Maybe I'm reading it too intensely. Maybe it's not alluding to that. But I do think that, yes, could be better. But the track that they're on now is still a good one as well. We have Matisse with the help with D, sure. But now imagine Ben Simmons and Matisse, right? Like, let's not discredit that, because that's important and that's valuable. So, yeah, you know what? You might be losing the defense. You might be, having Matisse Thybulle to help you out, but imagine having Ben and Matisse. Scary. Now, I'm with you, though. James Harden is a lethal weapon, and I would have traded for James Harden. And you see the difference he makes to the Brooklyn Nets, and I would have traded for James Harden. For sure, I would have traded for James Harden. Yes, I would have done it. But I'm still okay with keeping Ben Simmons as well, as we see him do it. Zach LaVine's Matisse Thybulle's son. It does seem that way, that he puts the clamp on pretty heavily. My superstars in the league. This is interesting because I mentioned how superstars are only a certain amount of guys. LeBron, KD, Embiid, Giannis, Steph. Are there other names on the list that we are missing out on? Is Anthony Davis labeled a superstar? Let's just look up NBA superstars 2021 on Google. All I did was Google NBA superstars, and I want to see. And they bring up the All-Star game. Okay, so what they end up doing is bringing up the All-Star game list. But, okay, all right. So, obviously, that's going to play a role into... All right, so Luka Doncic, superstar. See, do you value national appeal? Because this guy overseas, legend, has that appeal to a bunch of people overseas. Where is it about popularity or play? Because there are some people that are so big, so well-known popularity-wise, like a Luka Doncic, who has that support all around the world, not just in this country. And does that make you a superstar? I don't think so. I think it's got to be about play on the court. Is Jokic a superstar? Kawhi Leonard. Is Kawhi Leonard a superstar? He was labeled just 2 years ago the best player in the league, better than LeBron after that championship run. Now he's not a superstar anymore. I find that hard to believe, right? How do you flip-flop that much? Giannis, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Embiid, Kyrie Irving. On that list, KD, Giannis, and Joel I would label as superstars. So, I guess the only question I would ask is, do you throw in the list of superstar, do you throw Kawhi Leonard in there? Because I would have to. I would have to say yes. $2 donation coming in from Jake Elliott. Heard a commercial called Duncan Robinson, a superstar. What is your take on Duncan Robinson? Maybe that's the question I should ask. That's the question we should start off with. What is your opinion on Duncan Robinson? $10 donation coming in. More contributions to the Brodes Tattoo Fund. I had to think about it for a second. What's the BTF? The Brodes Tattoo Fund. Love coffee with Brodes. Go into the next Sixers Bucks game. Can't wait to finally see a game live at the center. Wow, Keith, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's going to be a fun time going to the Sixers game. That's going to be very entertaining. Sixers Bucks. That's going to be phenomenal. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. And, of course, the support for the ink. Got to clean some things up here, get some things figured out. We got a little room in the bicep to clean up, but we're getting there. And then this still needs to get colored in. So you're right. The Brodes Tattoo Fund, which is funny as hell. Thank you so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. We got another person, Damian Lillard. Is Damian Lillard on the list? He's one that is he a superstar? Oh, man, he's right there. If he's not in, he's the first one out. We got some college basketball problems. That's not good. That's not good, considering there were some problems already with Duke basketball, right? Duke basketball had to pull out of the ACC tournament. I don't see anything popping up. Oh, man, excuse me. Does a superstar win a lot? I would say yes. Now, does that mean championships? No, not necessarily, but they win a lot, yes. What was it? Virginia, Georgia Tech? Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't mean you necessarily win because Charles Barkley was a superstar. There's plenty of superstars that win, but they don't win championships. Like, yeah, you have guys like Charles Barkley. You're telling me he's not a superstar because he didn't win a championship? Of course he is. Of course he is. So there's plenty of superstars that don't win. So, no, it doesn't have to be necessarily win a ton. How about Paul George? No, Paul George to me is not a superstar. Not a superstar. Bradley Beal, no, he's not a superstar. Yeah, the ACC does announce Georgia Tech and Virginia's game has been postponed. That's great. That is great. Dude, I think the Suns will be in the playoffs. Absolutely. Do you see the way that they're playing basketball this year? Of course. Of course. Does it hurt when you get your tattoos? Yeah, at times. The elbow was a bitch. The elbow hurt, like tears out of the eyes, out of the elbow, and see it too, because if you look at the color in my elbow, it's not as saturated and didn't sit as well. But that was also about 6 hours into the tattoo. So it could have just been my body was fatigued from it. But yeah, if you look at the elbow, like right on the elbow, the color's a little bit not as distinct, and that's got to go back in and get a little bit more color. Yeah, there's spots where it hurts. At this point, though, I sit for long-ass sessions now. So that's another reason. If I was to go in and get a 2-hour tattoo, I could probably sit through that with a breeze and not have too much pain. But I'm at the point where I go in for like 8 hours. So hours 6, 7, and 8, I start to really feel the pain a little more. So it's very different, right? Like my fiance's got a couple tattoos. She's got one on the wrist here. She's got one on the back of the neck. She's got one on the ribs. But they took about 15, 20, 25 minutes. At that point, your adrenaline is kicking so much that you don't really feel the pain. Like the first 20, 30, 35 minutes, your adrenaline's running through where you don't really feel it. 6, 7 hours in, you get hungry, you get tired, you get defeated, your arm's sore. So it's a little different. No tramp stamp. No tramp stamp. Devin Booker, man, that's a good one. Going back to the superstar thing, man, because I think he's in that mix, right? Like he's in that territory with Dame Lillard. Are they in the superstar category? Or are they not in the superstar category? Because like Chris Paul isn't. And do I put Devin Booker above Chris Paul after Chris Paul's resume? That's where it gets a little shaky. That's a good one. Is Devin Booker in there? I tend to say yes. Jimmy Butler, no. Jimmy Butler, no. I'm just looking at some of the comments here and what some of the names people are throwing. Ooh, Mr. 89 asked this. Crosby, Pasta, Ovi, McDavid, all in their prime. Which one would you build an NHL team around? Well, I'm going to go with Crosby. I'm going to go with Sidney Crosby. And maybe that was a little bit easier than I thought. McDavid's in his prime now, and he's struggling. Look, it takes a team. You need a team. There's no doubt that you need 4 lines. You need 6 defensemen. You need a netminder. Crosby without Matt Murray playing the way that he did. Are you winning those Stanley Cups? And without Marc-Andre Fleury playing the way that he did, is Sidney Crosby winning those cups? And he definitely was a big role in that. But the answer to me is Sidney Crosby. The guy's a winner. The guy's a leader. The guy does all the little things right. It is outstanding for sure what Sidney Crosby has done. So to me, it's Sidney Crosby. You can't choose anyone but Crosby, right? Right. Now, let's say, hypothetically, I'll throw it back up on the screen. Let's take Sidney Crosby out because maybe that was too easy of a question. So let's take Crosby out. And now your answer is Pasta. Well, let's put Matthews in there. Huh? Let's throw Austin Matthews in there. So Matthews, Pasta, Ovi, McDavid. Dude, I love Austin Matthews. I love Austin Matthews. Man, Ovi, you have the best goal scorer ever. McDavid, one of the flashiest, fastest players ever. Gets you 2 points a night. Eyes closed, blindfolded. Pasta, guy's a fucking machine. Would he be the same without Marchand and Bergeron? Probably. He'd still have that type of production. And Matthews. Oh, it's so hard because Ovi's in such a different part of his career. I'll probably X out Pasta at that point. All due respect to Pasta, he'd probably be pushed to the side. So now it's McDavid, Ovi, Matthews. Dude, call me psychotic, but I'm almost choosing between Ovi and Matthews. And I'm like grabbing my face because it hurts me to leave Connor McDavid off. But I like McDavid. I just don't know if McDavid screams. And he's so young in his career. And look, you need a team. And Edmonton is not properly constructed. But right now, is McDavid the guy that I can rely on? It seems like he's just a guy that's going to be so nasty, give you so many points, but it doesn't necessarily relate to the little things that really help you win a championship, which is crazy. I know, I'm an idiot. Ovi or Austin Matthews? Dude, I love Austin Matthews. I just picked Austin Matthews. I picked Austin Matthews. That goal last night was crazy. It was so nuts. It gave me something. I was aroused, to say the least. I was aroused. The one thing I'm looking at in his prime has to be Ovi. I know, Ovi scoring the way that he did. But, yeah, Ovi's a good one. Obviously, Ovi was one that I was thinking about. Is Donovan Mitchell a superstar? No. No, Donovan Mitchell not a superstar. Carmelo on the Knicks. What is Carmelo on the Knicks? Are you asking, was Carmelo on the Knicks a superstar? Because that's where Bradley Beal was? I think Carmelo Anthony was a little bit better than what you see in Bradley Beal. I think you're not giving Carmelo Anthony enough credit for his 2006 run all the way through 2017. My man was the scoring champion at 28 points per game. Come on, 28 points per game in 2009 with Denver, 29 points per game in Denver in 2006 when he was an all-star. I think what you saw with Carmelo Anthony was definitely different than what you see in Bradley Beal. So, yeah, I don't think that. And look, Bradley Beal averaging 30, 32. I'm with you. I'm not making it seem like Bradley Beal has done nothing in this league, but I think when you look at Carmelo Anthony's run and longevity of it, I think that's crucial. The longevity of it all, it puts him on another tier and puts Carmelo Anthony in another category. For 8 straight years, he was an all-star, and he was averaging 26 points per game, 28 points per game, 25 points per game. And he was unbelievable and he was lethal. And not that Bradley Beal isn't putting up good numbers and scoring 30 points per game, but that Washington team is a mess. And Melo's a different type of beast, man. I don't want to disrespect Bradley Beal, but I do put Carmelo Anthony above what Bradley Beal has done. Same winning result. Yeah, I got you, but that's when team play comes in as well. It's not all just about it. But Carmelo with Denver, different. I see it differently. What Carmelo's career was, and it's all about longevity. If Bradley Beal does 30 points per game for 6 more seasons in a row, we can resurface this. But the longevity of it, one guy's still playing, the other guy, we've seen the career, even though he's still battling it around and hanging in there later on to keep himself alive a bit. I see it differently for sure. So, yeah. So, with that being said, we are going to end Coffee with Brodes as we get a question here. Would you ever make Coffee with Brodes longer? Right now, it is the 1 hour show. This is where we're at with it, but I don't know. I don't know what happens in the future. You never know. Progression is what is happening here with Brodes Media. Every day it's something new. And yeah, so with that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. The next time we will see each other live is next Monday, on Monday with Coffee with Brodes. But we have the Sixers tonight. We have the Flyers on Saturday against the Caps. And we have the Sixers Spurs at the Wells Fargo Center with some fans. So it's going to be exciting. Thank you guys so much for listening to Coffee with Brodes. And I'll see you Monday. But be aware of all the post-game pods that you will see over the weekend. Thank you all so much.